Hello everybody, my name's Jane and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about all of my bookish pet peeves. So you guys know what I'm talking about. You're having those really good days and you have a good book in your hand, you're enjoying it, and then all of a sudden you go, gasp, there's something in this book that I dislike and despise, and God forbid I see any more of it. Just, no. So I'm reading a book like that in particular right now where a lot of these types of things are present, so I thought, why not talk about it? Why not talk about my bookish pet peeves today? Especially because it's not that nice outside. I thought, why not? Might as well talk about all these things that are on my mind. So I'm going to divide the video up into two different parts. The first part's going to look more at the aesthetics of the books, but thankfully the reasons aren't that plentiful. It's more just, there's a few things in particular that I'm just really frustrated by when I see them on my books. And then I'm going to move on to the writing with the book, so whether it's something with the writing style or if it's a trope I don't like, I'm going to talk about those as well. So yeah, that's how it's going to be broken up, and we'll just see how this goes, I guess. So the first pet peeve I want to talk about is people on the covers. I don't like this. I find it something within the publishing industry that is extremely lazy, and I don't like seeing it on my books. Surprisingly, when I went through my bookshelf to look for examples of this, I don't have many books with people on the covers. If anything, they are more silhouettes of people on the covers, or they are turned away so that you don't see the people's faces. I don't mind those necessarily. I just don't like seeing people outright on the cover. I find it's lazy, it's unattractive, and it's not that I have a certain vision of what these characters will look like, so this messes me up. That's not necessarily the case. I find that there's just so many more opportunity within making this cover that they could take advantage of. You can take in people within the art community and be able to showcase some of that art, but it's just, I just find it lazy and I don't appreciate it very much. Another thing I don't like about the aesthetics is stickers on the covers. And I'm not talking about the ones that leave residue, because those are a whole different story. I'm talking about the stickers that don't come off. So for example, here's my version of A Monster Calls. It has a soon-to-be major motion picture sticker on it, and it has the awards it's won. I don't care, because I have seen versions of this where they don't have those stickers on them, and it's just so much nicer to look at and have as an addition on your shelf. I don't like the fact that these things are distracting and take away from the overall effect that the cover has. So I just don't like it. So the last thing in relation to aesthetics that I'm going to mention is when the corners of the books start to peel away from each other. It's something that makes me really upset as a person who tries to keep my books looking nice. And I don't try to keep them looking nice for the sake of when you see them, you're going to see nice looking books. I keep them looking nice because I want to keep them for a really long time. My books are something that I treasure, and I spend a lot of money on them. So if I'm going to spend that much money, whether it be new or used, I want to keep them looking nice as long as possible. And I'm thinking of a particular book that I read recently that did this, and I was panicking that it was happening because I'm like, this book is not mine, it's from the library, so I don't want to be blamed for the fact that this happened to this book. And I'm not going to say what book it is, but it had like this plastic film over the top of the book, and the more I read the book and like fiddled with it in my hands like I would any other book, the corner plastic part kept on peeling away, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do? This isn't mine, I can't pay for this. But yeah, it's just something about the quality of the book. It's very telling as to how much money they put into producing it so that it stays good for a long time. So yeah, that's just something that, it hurts me so much on the inside. It's just, it's awful. And now to get on to all of my writing issues, the biggest pet peeve that's bookish related that I probably have ever had is when not only is the story rushed and the descriptions are rushed, but when characters rush and they make really impulsive decisions based on their emotions. It irks me to no end when I see this in my books. And when I'm thinking of this, I'm thinking of a particular book that I read recently that was chock full of this. The book I'm thinking of in particular is 1,000 Pieces of You by Claudia Gray. It's a book about hopping between parallel dimensions, And it goes through the information so fast, on top of the fact that the main character rushes into every situation she puts herself in, that I was so overwhelmed reading it. I'm like, what the hell? It was just so awful. And the worst part about it was the main character admitted the fact that she was rushing, like she had internal dialogue about it, and then continued to rush into stuff. And I'm like, I don't understand you. It's a story building tool that I don't like at all. I hate when it's used, and I don't hate a lot of things with my books. I tend to stay very positive for the most part when I read things and give things a chance. Even love triangles and insta-love. That's not something I'm going to mention in this video. I don't mind those in the right situations and when it's done well. But this is one that I'm like, I have never seen a character that rushes done well. And I can think of plenty of examples when they rush into things that if they had thought it through for an extra second, they wouldn't have done that thing. So it's just a frustrating trope. And I really, really dislike it. But it's one that I don't see on BookTube very much, so I just wanted to mention it. You want to know what else I don't like? Fonts in all caps. It is so unnecessary, and there are so many other writing tools that you could use to add to your character and story. I find it is a very lazy writing tool. And I'm going back to the book that I'm reading again because the part that I ended on last night, they are having an inner dialogue with themselves, and part of it is in all caps. And I'm thinking to myself, why? Like, the author easily could have used physiological reactions to show, you know, the dramatic feelings that come from these thoughts, but they chose not to. And I'm like, why would I continue reading about this character? This all cap inner dialogue doesn't help me learn anything about their character because I'm so distracted by the fact that you use all caps in the first place. I find it lazy and obnoxious looking. It's just dumb for the most part. And don't get me started about all the contemporary romances that just go nowhere. They often use these books to build up their relationship, and then at the very end when the climax happens, that's when they get together. But the climax is at the very end. So being at the end, you're not going to see anything else with their relationship because it's the end. And you're sitting there like, I feel so cheated. You just want them to be together and be happy and be cute and see them go through all their problems as a couple instead of as friends, and it just goes nowhere. And I can't even give examples of this because then it'll spoil the book for anyone who's watching. Sure, you're happy that they're deciding to be in a relationship at all by the end, but you're like, I want to see you be together. I want to ship you some more. And you can't because the story is finito. It is done. This is just, oh, it makes me so sad, honestly. And speaking of relationships, something I don't like about relationships in YA is when the characters decide to have sex right before or after a life or death event. They are put into the situation where they know that the next day they might die, but the characters don't know each other well enough, so you're like, I don't buy that. They're just hooking up at this point. They don't actually love each other. And then the writing for the sex scene is so ambiguous and vague that you're like, are we sure that they're having sexy times right now? You don't know whether they're doing oral sex. You don't know whether they're having actual sex, like with penetration. You don't know whether they're having foreplay. You don't know what they're doing. The only indication that they're actually having sexy time is that they're saying, oh, a lot. So not only is it not written well, it is just such a stupid thing that happens that whenever I see it, I'm like, I don't buy it for a second that you guys love each other. Just no. Just a big fat no. I don't like sex within YA. It's not done well. It's so bad. It's, The last bookish pet peeves I'm going to mention is when books that aren't academia decide to use annotations or endnotes. I have only seen a couple examples within YA, and thank the Lord I have seen none in adult fiction, which is beautiful, absolutely fantastic. But in the times I've seen it be used, it has either been used to add comedy to the story, or it is used to add something about the character's past so that they're not rehashing it. So it's used that way. Don't like it. And the first example that I can immediately think of where this happened was An Abundance of Catherines by John Green. On top of the book being shite, the annotations and endnotes didn't help at all. It just made the main character seem more pompous, if anything. So I'm going to give you an example of an endnote that it gives. One no longer says AD or BC. It's just not hip anymore. These days, one says either CE for Common Era or BCE for Before Common Era. What? It just really dampened the story for me, and I just don't like seeing it. So that concludes the list of bookish pet peeves that I wanted to share with you guys today. If you have any thoughts about my bookish pet peeves or want to share some of your own, feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you so we can discuss all of our bookish pet peeves together. And yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!